what do you do that people pay you for? You're not just an author.
Yeah.
Do you transform lives? Do you help people lose weight? Do you help people become an expert authority? Do you produce events for people?
Welcome back to Creating Powerful Impact. And if you have ever felt like you have something important to say, but you're not necessarily sure how to turn that into a business that actually pays you, then this episode is for you. Today, I am joined by Christine, and I hope I say this correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Blosdale.
Yes.
Yes,
Ding,
come
ding, 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 ding,
on.
ding.
Go
You
on.
win.
We have Christine with us, who is also known as the Expert Authority Coach. She's a former award-winning broadcaster turned media strategist who helped hundreds of heart-centered entrepreneurs amplifying their voice, launching high-converting podcasts, and finally getting paid for their message. Come on.
Yes.
She also believes that authority isn't given, it's built. And today she's breaking down how to do just that without the overwhelm, without the hustle, and with way more impact. So,
Mm.
whether you are just starting or you're scaling, you're about to get the exact tools from the go-to expert and become a trusted authority. Welcome, Christine, to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. How are you?
Thank you, Shay. I've been looking forward to this. I'm super happy to be here.
I'm excited too because it's like, all right, the whole topic around authority isn't given, it's built.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just freaking go there. Why are so many people waiting for permission to be seen as an authority?
A great deal of my clients are women, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, authors, and there's this little. I think there's this little thing called imposter syndrome, which is a big thing. And even though with all the degrees, you might have a bunch of degrees behind you and a lot of accomplishments, sometimes there's this little voice that says, who are you to take the stage? Who are you to give advice? Who are you to do a video for social media, right? And I'm here to say you are the perfect person because you have all this experience. You have life experience, you have business experience, you've had the ups and the downs. You've worked hard to develop your skills, and now you do need to take center stage. And most clients, helping them get over the imposter syndrome is half of my job. The other half is working on their branding, because you can, that's the thing, is if you're not really clear on your message, then
Mhm.
the audience, the population that you're trying to bring in, your potential customers and clients, they're not going to understand what you do, and they're just going to scroll by.
Well, and I've seen so many people have like, oh, I help people do this, that, and the other. And you're like, huh? I don't actually understand what that means. Like, it's not a concrete, I can set it on the table, I can visualize and actually see what that means kind of messaging. It's very up here, it's very visionary, and it needs to be like brought down and
Yes.
conceptualized that people can go, oh, yeah, I totally know somebody that needs you right now.
Well, if you have a Ferrari, you're not going to just take it to any, mechanic or the gas station,
Yeah.
right? You're going to actually try and find the Ferrari expert technician who knows how to work on that. And yet it's so funny because when we describe what it is that we do, a lot of times people say, oh, I do everything for everybody. And I'm like, no, no,
I
we need
help
to
people
niche
with
you down.
skin.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and it's sometimes it's hard to, because a lot of times my clients, they're like, I like to do this, I like to do that, and I'm saying, what do you do that people pay you for? You're not just an author. When you're at a party and people say, so what is it that you do for a living, you don't just say, well, I'm an author. I mean, unless you're making money being an author and people are paying you maybe to write their books, but I said, that's just a credential, right? And that's one of the things that's going to help you build your expert authority, is writing those books, is creating those blogs, it's doing those videos, being a guest on podcasts or having your own. And we can get into that in a little bit, but it's all these little tools that you're going to use to build your expert authority, but it's not what you do.
Yeah.
Do you transform lives? Do you help people lose weight? Do you help people become an expert authority? Do you produce events for people? You know, those type of things. We need to be really clear in our
Yeah,
message.
it's so funny you bring that up, the author piece. I literally yesterday ran a master class for one of my clients' audiences, where I was the speaker to her audience. And somebody was like, "Oh, I don't know if I should be doing master classes because I'm just an author." And it's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Come on."
Well, it's like it's also for those people that they don't have a particular skill set that they feel is in demand. I remember talking to a woman many years ago, and she said, I don't know if why should I have a podcast? I'm just a stay-at-home mom." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Right?
Stay-at-home moms, do you know how many millions of stay-at-home moms there are?" Now I said, now here's the thing, because she was very funny. I said, "You're funny, and your funniness is going to help lift other people's,
Mm.
other single moms, stay-at-home moms are going to help lift their day." But I said, also, do you have something, can you feed your family for $20 a day? Yes, I can, as a matter of fact, because I've had to really scrimp. Okay, well, there's a podcast name right there. How to
Hmm.
feed your kids for $20 a day. It
Hmm.
would be a great podcast, right?
Yeah.
You
And then
can
can
talk
totally
about
blossom into so many other
totally
different things.
books. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's kind of essentially like taking their story and turning it into something profitable, right?
Yes.
Starting to get them out there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's move into the monetization piece of it.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite monetization method right now? And why does it work?
A lot of the work that I get is word of mouth. And so it's really having that one-on-one time with people. So I like to do what they call in the industry lead magnets, or ways for people to come into your world. If you're just on social media saying, buy this, sign up for my course, people are inundated with commercials and infomercials and pitches, sales pitches. So I find that I'm not so much about the sales pitch. I want people to come into my world, first of all, to find out if I want to work with them, if I want to spend my energy training them, coaching them, guiding them. But also, I love working with people, especially newbies, especially folks they've left their 9 to 5 job, they're transferring from being an employee to an entrepreneur, and I love seeing their eyes light up with new ideas on what they can do. Many times they're sitting on a throne of content and creativity and products and services that they didn't know that they had. And that's what I really enjoy. So for me, the best way to monetize is offering these things, free workshops, webinars, those lead magnets, those different things that we can bring people into our world, and then having that one-on-one conversation.
Brilliant, brilliant. So I want to hear your take on the give everything away for free trap that so many heart-centered entrepreneurs fall into.
Yes, don't do it.
Right? Just please stop.
Now, I just said that one of my favorite ways to help monetize is to bring people in, because I believe that once somebody has a 30-minute conversation with me, they're going to fall in love with me, right? They're going to go, "Okay, I don't know, I want what you've got." Right? That's the main thing. So I still need to bring them into my world. That said, the services that I provide after that, people have to pay for, because my time is extremely valuable. And for those people who are really uncomfortable asking for money, or saying, "Oh, I want to give away everything for free because I want to help the world become a better place," blah, 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 blah. It's an energy exchange, and you need to think of it that way. And what I say is that when people are even booking a paid hour session with me, they're not just buying that 60 minutes. And I go over so many times, I'll go over the 60. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't go ding, you're done. But what I say is that they're not paying for that hour. They're paying for my 20 years in broadcast journalism, my 25 years in total being in media, working at America Online, Microsoft, all of the podcast shows I've done. I was a producer, I was a host. I got pitch letters from people. I knew what was going to go in the trash bin, what was going to come across, and I was going to call them back and say, let's get you on the show. So you're paying for that. It's the same thing if you go to an attorney. You're not paying for that 60 minutes, right? You're paying for their degree, for all of their specialty, all of their, they know how to navigate and write a contract or read a contract. So that's what I try and tell people. You have to think about it. It's not how much per minute you're making. It's about what you bring, the value that you bring.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to keep moving along the lines of like monetization and take a look at the stage that we're on right now, which is podcasting.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been saying this forever that podcasting is a stage. It is an event. It is something that you have to plan and you have to create essentially a run a show and what you're going to be talking about and what's the purpose and intention and what are people getting out of it. I believe you're probably also looking at it as one of the newer stages out there in the world. Why do you call it like a new stage?
It's because it's twofold too. And I have clients that I immediately when I'm talking to them, I'm like, your podcast gold. Like you need to have your own branded podcast for your business. It's a marketing tool. Just like a best-selling book is a great marketing tool, a podcast is even better because it's like your own radio station. It's like your own television set, and you set the tone. So the thing is that you don't want to go into it and say, I'm just going to be salesy, right? We can smell it. Okay. We smell desperation. We smell a sales pitch a mile away. And so you need to either be inspiring, motivating, educational, informational, funny, all those different things. If you can be one of those, then you've got some of a good chance. But I'll take some clients and I'll say, right, we need to develop a podcast for you. And I take them through a 4-week course. It's not a course, 4-week training, basically. And I show them everything. How to create this. This is the cover art. This is the title. Here's the legal stuff you need to know. Here's how you record. Here's how you edit. Here's how you publish, so that they have all the tools. Because can I do it for them? Yes. Do I want to? No. I don't want to be a podcast manager, but I want to show people how to do it themselves so they have that independence. Now, there's some clients, they're perfect for that. And then there's other clients, I'm like, no, that's going to be too much for your brain cells are going to explode. It's too much for you to do, but you can be an amazing podcast guest. So that's why I say podcasting is one of the best marketing tools. To have your own podcast is super great. To be a guest on podcast is equally as great. Your SEO goes through the roof. Your name is going to be associated. You're going to reach people you could never reach. Your audience, Shay, they've never heard of me until today. Yep. Now they know me, right? And now they're like, oh, okay, Christine Blosdale. Oh, expert authority. Okay, yeah. But it's twofold. If you can do both, if you can have a podcast and be a guest on podcasts, oh my gosh. And I know that's what you do.
Yeah, exactly. I do both. Because it is a stage, right? And speaking is one of the best ways to, in my opinion, grow your business. Whether you're owning your own stage, having your own podcast, having your own webinars, having your own masterclasses, your own 3 days, or being on other people's stages, other people podcasts, other people's summits, whatever the case may be. It's a stage. So the more you can get out there, it's kind of like leaving your little lead magnets everywhere and putting the information out there. Those little, in the States here, we've got Baskin Robbins, the little pink spoon. You probably remember when you were out here.
I remember the pink spoon.
Right? Yeah, little pink spoon. It's like that little taster of like, maybe I want to go check out what she's up to. I kind of dig her energy, right? So.
You'd be amazed at the results. You know what? I was looking at my website statistics the other day, and I never do that. I never go in and look at my analytics. But it was like, and you look at your typical day. It's like, okay, a few people here, people there, and it's pretty much the same. On one day, and I still have to find out what podcast dropped on that day. I got almost 600 views, 600 visits to my website. Now, once they're at the website, they're going to walk around, check out the different things that I have. But 600?
Yeah.
in one day, that's that's powerful, right?
Right.
And so you want to get yourself to that point. But here's the thing, here's the rub. You need to develop yourself into an expert authority so that podcast hosts will want to have you on. You can't
Yeah.
just rock up to somebody and say, "Have me on your show." I had this a lot as a radio host. I had people say, "I want to be on the radio." You know, put me on. And I'm like, well, no, I need to know why. And
Right.
that's having an interesting story or having expertise in something that I think my audience will want to hear. And so you
Mhm.
need to tell that podcast host, here's what I can give your audience. Not
Yeah.
about you. Don't talk about what college you went to and all that other stuff.
Nobody cares. They're all
Nobody
wanting to know
cares.
what's in it for them, right?
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. What would you say separates a podcast that really builds authority from one that just like floats around with all the rest of the noise?
We touched on it earlier a little bit about one of my pet peeves is hearing a podcast beginning and then hearing the host talk about I me. um Immediately I'm like, boring, I'm out of here, right? There are some now, if you we're not all Joe Rogan, right? And we can't command a 3-hour podcast with millions of listeners, but making sure that you get that point across that this is going to be valuable for someone. Our attention span is that of gnats nowadays because TikTok, we got 5 seconds. The first 5 seconds, you've got to pull people in. And if you don't do that, then they're on to the next thing, right? Because we're searching out. The great thing about what's happening now, and I've noticed this, we are, as a human species, craving authenticity and relatability.
Mhm.
The days of, Kardashian luxury, all Hollywood is crumbling, all of that stuff. We want to relate to somebody and we want to feel that authenticity. So I tell my clients, if you're able to come across authentically and connect with that audience right away, you're way ahead of the game. And just don't talk just about you, me, I, because that's going to make a lot of people just, again, scroll by.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Um, I'm wondering if you happen to have any like tough love truths that you just wish more people knew about becoming visible.
Yeah. Well, one of my mantras is, if you're not seen and heard, you're not hired.
Say
Okay.
that again.
Yeah. If you're not, it's at the bottom of every page on my website. I should probably put it at the top, but
Yeah.
it's just a reminder for people. It's like a footer. Um, if you're not seen and heard, you're not hired. You could be the best thing since sliced bread, but if you're hidden in the basement and you're not on social media, you're not doing video, you're not doing podcasts, you're not writing blogs, you're just sitting there, sitting on your throne of great ideas or even expertise in whatever field you are, then you're not going to get hired. People are just not going to know about you. And as I was talking about this new revolution of us wanting, as human beings, wanting authenticity and relatability, another thing that is happening right now is the power of collaboration. This go it alone, I'm the solopreneur, scarcity mindset. I'm too afraid to, I don't know if I want to have Shay be on my stage because she might steal some. That's gone. Some people still think that antiquated way, but that's not how it is. The power of having two, three, four really incredible speakers or people that are experts in their niche, in their field together, it gives the audience way more than just the one person, but it also, you're able to be in a mindset, in a hive mindset that is so powerful, and you never know what can come from that. So many great things have come from collaborations. I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah, same here. I'm all about like the partnership and the connection and the collaboration. Um, and it just makes sense. Like when we're doing events, we're going, okay, who's sideline to you? Who's cross line? Like who's before you, who's after you. When your clients need something, who do you send them to, right? Who are you working with to grow your business? Could that also help your audience, right?
Yeah.
So it's like looking at it from that perspective. And then how can we come together and support the whole person that you're bringing into your world, is how I look
Well,
at it.
and if your goal is to, if you're a coach, let's say, and you say on your marketing, materials, I want to help entrepreneurs, become six-figure, earners, and I want people to succeed in life. I want people to have a healthier body, whatever it is. If that's your real goal, then you'll do anything to make sure that that happens. And if you're not the right person to do all of those things, then you owe it to that client or that audience to bring those people to. You know what? I had a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn for a long time. And it's only recently that I'm like, oh, damn. Oh, I could use it for this, right? XYZ. I can utilize LinkedIn for this. Now, I'm not a LinkedIn expert, but I just spoke to somebody who's brilliant with LinkedIn, and she did a full audit of my profile and my LinkedIn page, and gave me such important stuff that I can use immediately. Now, for my clients, many of whom are on LinkedIn, guess who I'm sending them to?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending them to her,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not an expert at that. What I'm good at, I'm really good at. But what I'm not good at, I can I can point people to them, right?
Yep.
And I'm not afraid they're going to run off. You know, I'm very secure in my relationship with my clients. Sounds like I'm talking about my wife. I'm not worried about her running away, go have an affair, right?
Right. Same thing goes for your clients for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know that you've scaled your own business using events such as masterminds and webinars and master classes and things like that. I'm sure you've also included some systems and some automations. What would you say has been the highest leveraging move in your business?
I use a system that keeps everything very well organized for me, and I love it because I can create with this particular system. I can create workshops, events, products, services. I can make appointments. It's not like your basic, your like your Calendly thing. It's got all my branding and everything in it. But I also like it because I can create memberships and subscriptions. And beyond just the mastermind, which I have my own mastermind. We every other week we meet, but beyond that, there's other subscription models that you can do so that you have this income coming in from different sources. I believe wholeheartedly in that. And I do affiliate stuff as well with programs and products or services that I truly believe in and that I use.
Yeah.
So if I'm using something right now that helps me get booked on podcasts, and I think it's the most amazing program ever created. So I tell all of my clients about it, and I'm like, because podcast booking agencies can cost an arm and a leg
Yeah.
and your spleen. It's very expensive. And so I've just recently found out this new program I'm using, and I'm getting booked on top podcast shows and meeting new people and collaborating with podcast hosts. It's completely opened up my world. And that's done through an automated process. So now there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. Don't sound like ChatGPT wrote your thing.
Right.
And you can tell AI language right away.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody's starting to get super used to it now.
Yes.
But I mean, if you're not using it, you're also missing out. So
Oh, yeah. No,
it's
I love
using it plus putting that human touch into it, right?
using it judiciously.
Yeah, yeah. Well, along the same lines of like scaling without completely burning out, what is something that you've stopped doing that actually made your business grow?
you know, uh, I've actually, because it's so important, especially with my mastermind, it's a small group of, right now it's all women entrepreneurs and authors and specialists. Uh, I'm very protective of that group. And what I used to do is I used to sort of like welcome the outside world, to come in to the mastermind. And I've become very particular because in that mastermind, people are talking about projects that haven't been launched yet. It's very what what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Okay. What happens in Christine's mastermind stays in Christine's mastermind. And we're nurturing folks along the way. And so I'm very protective of that. Whereas before I was kind of like, sure, I don't know who you are, come on in, that type of thing. So I'm quite judicious on that.
Yeah.
Now, people who are coming into my world who go to my website and they sign up for my newsletter, of course, it could be anybody that does that. That's great. But I'm very cautious about who I bring in. I've had an experience or two where someone's negative energy, downer Debbie, vibe, they've actually had in a webinar took over the web, basically tried to take over and just kept talking. And I had to eliminate them from my world. I didn't eliminate them. You know what I'm saying? I took them off my database. I'm like, no. It was just, yeah, I try and protect the people that I work with, so it's a safe space for everybody.
Well, and I'm sure when you ended up doing that, it became much more of a high level experience as well.
Yeah.
And so then they would like refer their friends and bring them in, and it's like, this is a safe space, and we can go and do this work, and we can get it out there, and we can monetize it, and so on and so forth. And actually helps with the retention piece too, I would assume.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And I think that's the name of the game right now is really loving on your people, retaining and having that grow.
And they're your best spokespeople. I mean, that's another tip that I have from my clients. I'm like, if you've worked with anybody and they enjoyed your service or they've gotten something out of it, get a testimonial, and don't just get a written testimonial because people can fake those. This Christine's the most amazing thing ever, and signed, Susie Smith. Okay, well, anybody could have written that, right? But if you can't get a video testimonial from a client or somebody that you've worked with, which is gold, by the way, I have a few clients that are like, I'd love to do video, and they take all the things that I've coached them on and they put them in the video, and I'm like, yes, they've got the captions and they got the music there. Anyway, if you can't get somebody, if they're shy or they're like, I don't know, then you say, can I use your test? Can you write a testimonial review for me? And can I include, your headshot or a photo, or mention your website? People are always great about, they're like, oh, you're going to promote me? You're going to send people to my website, or you're going to mention my business? So make sure that you do that properly. But I say video testimonials, number one. Number two, a testimonial that's accompanied by a photo and a link to their website, so it's verified.
Brilliant. Brilliant. This has been amazing. I appreciate you being with us today. If somebody is interested in connecting with you, how do they best do that? And do you happen to have a couple of gifts for us today?
Absolutely. I wouldn't come empty-handed. That's rude.
It's rude.
They can find me at expertauthoritycoach.com. That's the easiest way. They can also find me at my name, christineblosdale.com, but people don't know how to spell that. So expertauthoritycoach.com. I have everything that I offer there, information about the mastermind and all that good stuff. But also, if they're interested in checking out their status as an expert authority, in other words, getting rated on their expert authority-ness, I have this really cool quiz that they can take. It's super easy. These are questions that you should be asking yourself. Many entrepreneurs don't, and I think it's one of the most basic questions that you really need to be asking yourself. It's super quick. It's 10 questions, and at the end you get a rating, and it tells you where you are, and I give you some tips and tricks on ways to improve that rating. If you measure down low, we try and raise you up. But it's a really fun way to actually take inventory on how you're perceived as well. So it's about your brand, it's about your exposure and what you do. How do you monetize your expertise? That's all included. And that's at expertauthorityquiz.com. And I will have another gift for your listeners. You can include this in your show notes if you like. This is my brand new book, The Social Media and Branding Survival Guide, Digital Marketing So Irresistible Even Your Ex Will Want to Follow You. The subtitle is a little humorous because that's the style in which the book is written. But for your listeners, I would love to gift this to them. The PDF version has clickable links to all my tips and strategies, but also the tools that I use. So you will have time-saving AI technology that you can use, free stuff, free resources. It's all in that book, and I would love, it'd be my honor to gift that to your wonderful listeners.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I greatly appreciate it. Again, all those links are going to be in the show notes. Before I let you go, is there any last minute tips or aha moments you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yes. Okay. So, and Shay, you know this because you've been a guest on podcasts. So if you're doing like a live video or you're being interviewed, if you're on a podcast, this is just a quick tip. If you're on video and you're like, this video is going to be on YouTube, let's say, throughout the interview, Shay knows, because if you're listening to this, you can't tell, but Shay knows, periodically I've gone to grab a sip of this is coffee this morning, but it could be wine or water, whatever. And this is so easy. You can order this like on Canva, get a coffee mug, right? That has your name on it. Okay. You could have your website on it, but it's going to be so quick and subliminal. I've learned this. This is very subliminal stuff, but I've taken a sip of my coffee from my coffee mug that has my name on it and headset. So every now and then I lift that up. Nobody's going to necessarily recognize that and go, oh yes, Christine Blosdale, but it's going to be implanted in the brain. Subliminal messaging. There's always a way to brand, and there's always a way to market yourself. Just do it in some clever ways.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. Thank you so much for just sharing all of your amazing wisdom and your stories and your actionable tools that you've shared with us today.
Thank you,
And
Shay.
I just want to say to our listeners, if today's conversation lit something up inside of you, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to be reminded that your voice is your authority. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.